Wondering what Fort Worth is really like? Well, you are at the right channel today. Today we're going through the good, the bad, the ugly, everything about Fort Worth, pros and cons. So if that's what you're looking for, stay tuned. We have it for you. Hi, I'm Wendy.
And I'm Michelle. And if this is your first time to our channel, make sure that you subscribe and tap the notification bell down below so you'll be the first to hear about all things Fort Worth, Texas and beyond.
Whether you're looking to move in the next 9 seconds, 9 weeks, or 90 days,
Give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email.
heck, send us a smoke signal. We'll get back to you. Now be sure to stick around to the end because we have more on why it's important that we do what we do. Stick around. So one of the things with Fort Worth that stands out right away that we get a lot of feedback on from especially clients moving into our state is the affordability here. It is much different in Texas all the way around, not just North Texas, in comparison to other states, right, Michelle?
Yes, in fact, I was in California walking down Huntington Beach not too long ago, a couple of years ago. We saw a for sale sign on what looked like a tiny little shack on the beach. And I looked it up on Zillow, $1.5 million, Wendy.
Just a little shack.
Just a little shack. If that shack was in Texas, it would have been demolished a long time ago.
Demolished, but not only that, you would get a huge house. So people always say, and we believe them because we've been in other states looking around now, you get a lot more bang for your buck.
Yes, and I would say it's not just in other states. You'll see other areas like parts of Austin, Round Rock area, parts of Houston where you don't get as much for your money. But in Fort Worth, it's one of the biggest pros is the affordability of the homes here.
So that's what we would say the number one pro is affordability. But we could also argue, right, that could also be our first con too. Because as you go throughout North Texas, through GFW, including, Fort Worth and Dallas, but as you go into like downtown areas, you're gonna find more high-end places. And I mean, they go back and forth, but you'll find your high-end high-rises, even when they're condos, those can get a bit pricey. And then you go into different surrounding areas too, and there's high-end ones too.
We definitely get a good mixture. In fact, I was showing a ton of condos in the downtown Fort Worth area, and just HOA fees alone for some of those places is $1,500 a month for just the HOA.
And some people aren't used to HOAs too. So you could argue that back and forth, saying they're both a pro and a con. Now, our second pro that we've noticed and gotten a lot of feedback from our clients are the job opportunities in Fort Worth. You will see a lot of job opportunities. One that's close to Fort Worth is, and we've mentioned it before, is Lockheed Martin.
Yes, so Lockheed Martin nationwide employs about 115,000 people, and one of their major bases is right here in the Fort Worth area. So it's West Fort Worth. We did talk about it in our overview of Fort Worth video, and it's definitely one of the bigger employers in the area, as well as BNSF, and that is a major railroad company here, and they employ people here that go into the office as well as virtually.
Right, and then another one we didn't mention before is the Air Force Base that is just neighboring Lockheed and downtown Fort Worth. It's just a few minutes west of downtown, probably like 10-15 minutes, I'd say.
Mm-hmm.
But they bring in a lot of different people to work on the base and off base as well. But there's a lot of job opportunities, so definitely can be a pro. However, you again could argue that, right, as a con, because in comparison to Dallas, it doesn't have as diverse of a job community, does it?
It does not. Just after COVID, just so many of these companies are allowing people to work virtually. And I would think that with the traffic situation in Dallas, living in Fort Worth might be a big pro. There's traffic, there's gonna be traffic everywhere you go. Traffic in Fort Worth, depending on what times of the day you're traveling, could be a lot longer than what you're used to, but certainly not as bad as bigger areas like Dallas or Houston or Austin.
So I guess it leans more on the pro side. Another pro that we were thinking of in Fort Worth is the cultural scene.
Yes, I mean the cultural district in the Fort Worth area just has so many museums, and you could definitely see the Western heritage in that area of Fort Worth as well.
And just like we've mentioned in some of our other videos, you know, you have the Omni Theater, you have tons of different types of museums. So whether you like to, you know, dig for bones and learn about dinosaurs to the history of the cattle in Fort Worth, you have the whole gamut. There's a lot of kind of artsy things around there as well, as far as, you know, different cultural things. But then you could argue that as a con, right? It kind of goes hand in hand again, because a lot of people will say that there are more culturally diverse things in Dallas.
Yes, I mean there's those trendy hotspots over there, and Dallas is just going to be the bigger city, you know, there's no question about it. Just its square miles that it encompasses is going to be larger than Fort Worth. When you talk to people from other states, you know, it's usually Dallas, you know, that's the city that they recognize. But I would say that Fort Worth is a very close second to, you know, one of the bigger known areas in the North Texas area.
Definitely. And like we said before in our overview of Arlington, if you want a lot of diverse food and all the different things you want to try, it's right in between both. So best of both worlds there. Now, one thing that I definitely know is a pro for Fort Worth is the outdoor activities. You have so many different things. Just in downtown Fort Worth is really cool. You have the Trinity River. So a lot of people will go kayaking there. They'll walk and bike. There's paths that take you all through downtown and even further if you'd like to go.
So we don't get like a whole lot of terrible weather here in Texas. In fact, I think that for the most part it's pretty mild. I mean, you do get pretty hot summers, and then, you know, we might get a week or two of colder weather during the winter time. But I would say for a good 9 or 10 months out of the year, especially in the downtown Fort Worth area, you're going to see, you know, obviously there's going to be traffic, but you also see a lot of people just walking around, enjoying, you know, the parks and the trails. And people here, you don't consider Texans as really like the big outdoorsy type as much as people in Colorado, but you do see people outside here still doing all kinds of outdoor activities.
And one of those outdoor activities too, like she was saying, when we have we take advantage of that nice weather, is the rivers and the lakes. We will go tubing, we'll go out to the lakes, go skiing, just hang out. Again, like a lot of people have paddle boards, kayaks, and some people just like to float around and enjoy, you know, when it's really hot out. But that leads me to one of the cons of Fort Worth. And I know you said that, yeah, we do have relatively good weather in comparison to some people that have to shovel 4 feet of snow. We don't have to do stuff like that. But it can switch on a dime, where you can be cold in the morning and then really hot in the afternoon. Or in the first part of the week, it was in the 70s, and now here the weekend comes in around February time, January, February.
Or
it'll be a
one
freeze, right?
Even in one day. I would say, like, even right now, we're in the dead of winter, it's after Christmas. I could turn on the heat in the morning. In the afternoon, it's going to be warm again, so I might turn the AC back on for a little bit, and then it gets cold again at night. So
and there's kind of seasons of like, okay, so we went through this, you know, kind of hail. What's next? Oh, tornadoes. So we do have tornadoes here. That's definitely a con, and no one's really safe because we see them a lot out in the country where they usually hit down. But we've also seen it in downtown Fort Worth where they hit the high rises. So that can be a bit scary. It doesn't happen all that often, but it is something that happens here in North Texas. Another thing that I had to get used to, sorry to interrupt.
No.
Is the allergens. The allergens
yes.
really got me when I moved here because we're so centralized. We have a lot of weather that comes through our state, right?
Yes, I would say that my family is very prone to being allergic to the trees and the pollen and certain flowers and stuff here in Texas. My mom's allergies get so bad that she has to go get an allergy shot twice a year. But the funny thing is, as soon as she gets on an airplane or as soon as she gets on a cruise ship, all of her allergies clear up just immediately.
Right, it's so crazy. I've never experienced allergies like I have here in Texas. So if you're not used to it and you start getting headaches or different weird things happen, go to your doctor. Most likely you're getting allergies from Texas. One last pro, and I would say it's probably the best pro out of all of Texas, and I was told before I moved to Texas that you will find really kind people, and it's true. pretty much no matter where you go in Texas, you are gonna find very welcoming people. It'll be a little bit different in the different places you go, but you always kind of get a friendly hello. When you're out in the country, they do this 2-finger wave. So you get really out in the rural country areas, and it's just 2 fingers. They wave, they don't even take their hand off the steering wheel. They just do this 2-finger wave. So I thought everyone was waving at me. I thought they were very friendly, but they do in the country. When you go towards the cities, you won't see that, but you will be greeted with a smile, and it won't be as cold, I guess you could say, as you would find in other big cities.
Yeah, you still get, the nice gentlemen that hold the door open for you. And, a lot of the Texans here, their mamas taught them well. So, you go on a date for the first time and they'll go around and open the door for you and then get in themselves. So, and that's one of the things I love about being here, especially during COVID. My son and I would take long walks around the neighborhood and everybody would stop and wave. Whether they were walking themselves or they were in the car, they would just wave, and it's just a very welcoming feeling.
Definitely. You'll definitely love the people here. But as promised, thank you for sticking around to the end, because we are now going to go over Michelle's why. Why does she do this? Why it's so important to her to take good care of all of our people.
Well, so my why starts back way back when I was just a little girl. My parents immigrated here to the U.S. when I was 8 months old. My dad, back then, it was really difficult for a foreigner to come to the U.S. And my dad has 2 masters in math. He's always, been really big on education, and he just really took that upon himself to bring his family over to the U.S. and make a better life for us and make sure that we went to good schools. So I was 8 months old when we came over. We moved to Missouri first and lived there for a few years, but even, that wasn't enough. We lived in a really rural area. So after a few years, he decided we're moving to Texas. I was 4 or 5 years old at the time, and he decided that, he didn't want to rent, he wanted to buy a house. And even that young, I remember just the struggles that he went through. He spoke broken English at the time. Both my parents have been here for over 40 years now, so they conversate very well now. But back then, I just remember it being such a struggle for him to get into a home and understand the process, and it was hard for him to find help. He ended up opening several businesses, restaurants, and has done well since. But after we got out of the restaurant business, I still wanted to, get into a field where I could help others. And I think that, people ask Wendy and I all the time, how did you end up working together? Like, when did you start working together? Why did you decide to team up? And I think that we both share this need to help people. I think, for the most part, first-time home buyers, they're my favorite kind of people. They've never been through the process before. It is very overwhelming, but we feel like we can step in, hold your hand, walk you through the process, answer all of your questions. We have a great support network. We have built a really good team together of lenders, of escrow officers, and we're just here to just make sure that, you get into a good home. We don't want you to jump into anything. They tell us all the time, we really love working with you because you're like family. And then that's what we strive for. That is our goal, to help people, and it just really makes our hearts happy. And we tell people all the time, when it's meant to be, it's gonna happen.
Absolutely, Michelle. I completely agree with you. And I do agree that I feel like our hearts just kind of came together. We have very similar hearts. We have very similar goals in mind, where we each just want to take good care of our clients. Your goals are our goals. That's what we focus on. And that's what we're always going to put first and foremost in anything we do with y'all, before and after the transaction with you. But that's it. As always, we look forward to seeing you guys around town, and we'll see you soon. Bye for now.